Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, an African Tale by John Steptoe. Before you read, I want you to tell me, what do you think will happen to Mufaro's daughters? And what do you think will be the setting of this story? Just by looking at the pictures. Also predict how you think the two sisters are going to be alike, and how do you think they're going to be different, just by looking at this first picture on this first page. Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters is going to be a folk tale. A folk tale are stories that have been told and retold for many years, first by storytellers and then in writing. Folk tales include unusual characters, sometimes such as animals that speak. Many folk tales teach lessons about life. So just be on the lookout and look for clues that tell us that this is a folk tale. All right. Mufaro's Beautiful Daughter, an African Tale by John Steptoe. On page 87. A long time ago, in a certain place in Africa, a small village lay across a river and half a day's journey from a city where a great king lived. A man named Mufaro lived in this village with his two daughters, who were called Manara and Nisha. Everyone agreed that Manara and Nisha were very beautiful. Flip the page. Manara was almost always in a bad temper. She teased her sister whenever their father's back was turned, and she had been heard to say, "Some day, Nisha, I will be a queen, and you will be a servant in my household." If that should come to pass, Nisha responded, "I will be pleased to serve you. But why do you say such things? Are you clever and strong and beautiful? Why are you so unhappy?" "Because everyone talks about how kind you are, and they praise everything you do," Manara replied. "I'm certain that father loves you best. But when I am queen, everyone will know that your silly kindness is only weakness." Nisha was sad that Manara felt this way, but she ignored her sister's words and went about her chores. Nisha kept a small plot of land on which she grew millet, sunflowers, yams, and vegetables. She always sang as she worked, and some said it was her singing that made her crops more bountiful than anyone else's. Pause here and answer some questions. Think about some questions. These pages tell a lot about the girls. How are they already alike, and how are they different? How does Manara really feel about Nisha? What clues tell you this? Flip the page. One day, Nisha noticed a small garden snake resting beneath a yam vine. "Good day, little Noka," she called to him. "You are welcome here. You will keep away any creatures who might spoil my vegetables." She bent forward, gave the little snake a loving pat on the head, and then returned to her work. From that day on, Noika was always at Nisha's side. When she tended her garden, it was said that she sang all the more sweetly when he was there. What does Nisha's actions in this part of the story tell you about her character? Is she kind, caring, nice, friendly? What did she do that was one of those things? Page 92. Mufaro knew nothing of how Manara treated Nisha. Nisha was too considerate of her father's feelings to complain, and Manara was always careful to behave herself when Mufaro was around. Early one morning a messenger from the city arrived. The great king wanted a wife. The most worthy and beautiful daughters in the land are invited to appear before the king, and he will choose one to become queen, the messenger proclaimed. Mufaro called Manara and Nisha to him. "It would be a great honor to have one of you chosen," he said. "Prepare yourselves to journey to the city. I will call together all of our friends to make a wedding party. We will leave tomorrow as the sun rises." "But my father," Manara said sweetly, "it would be painful for either of us to leave you, even to be wife to the king. I know Nisha would grieve to death if she were parted from you. I am strong. Send me to the city, and let poor Nisha be happy here with you." Mufaro beamed with pride. The king has asked for the most worthy and the most beautiful. No, Manara, I cannot send you alone. Only a king can choose between two such worthy daughters. Both of you must go. Flip the page. That night, when everyone was asleep, Manara stole quietly out of the village. She had never been in the forest at night before, and she was frightened. But her greed to be the first to appear before the king drove her on. In her hurry, she almost stumbled over a small boy who suddenly appeared, standing in the path. How has this setting suddenly changed? Let's compare. How is the setting now different to the setting at the beginning of the story? And how are they the same? Page 94. Please, said the boy, I am hungry. Will you give me something to eat? I have brought only enough for myself, Manara replied. But please, said the boy, I am so very hungry. Out of my way, boy. Tomorrow I will become your queen. How dare you stand in my path? After traveling for what seemed to be a great distance, Manara came to a small clearing. There, silhouetted against the moonlight, was an old woman seated on a large stone. The old woman spoke. I will give you some advice, Manara. Soon after you pass the place where two paths cross, you will see a grove of trees. They will laugh at you. You must not laugh in return. Later, you will meet a man with his head under his arm, and you must be polite to him. How do you know my name? How dare you advise your future queen? Stand aside, you ugly woman. Manara scolded and then rushed on her way without looking back. Just as the old woman had foretold, Manara came to a grove of trees, and they did indeed seem to be laughing at her. I must be calm, Manara thought. I will not be frightened. She looked up at the trees and laughed out loud. I laugh at you, trees, she shouted, and she hurried on. It was not yet dawn when Manara heard the sound of rushing water. The river must be up ahead, she thought. The great city is just on the other side. But there, on the side, she saw a man with his head tucked under his arm. Manara ran past him without speaking. A queen acknowledges those who please her, she said to herself. I will be queen, I will be queen, she chanted as she hurried on toward the city. So which mysterious character does she meet first? Think about who does she meet next, and then what strange thing happens. And then who does she meet last? Nisha woke up at the first light of dawn. As she put on her finest garments, she thought how her life might be changed forever beyond this day. I'd much prefer to live here, she admitted to herself. I'd hate to leave this village and never see my father or sing to little Noika again. Her thoughts were interrupted by a loud shout and a commotion from the wedding party assembled outside. Manara was missing! Everyone bustled about, searching and calling for her. When they found her footprints on the path that led to the city, they decided to go on as planned. As the wedding party moved through the forest, brightly plumed birds darted about in the cool green shadows beneath the trees. Though anxious about her sister, Nisha was soon filled with excitement about all there was to see. They were deep in the forest when she saw the small boy standing by the side of the path. You must be hungry, she said, and handed him a yam she had brought her for lunch. The boy smiled and disappeared as quietly as he had come. Later, as they were approaching the place where the two paths crossed, the old woman appeared, and silently pointed the way to the city. Nisha thanked her and gave her a small pouch filled with sunflower seeds. The sun was high in the sky when the party came to the grove of towering trees. Their uppermost branches seemed to bow down to Nisha as they passed beneath them. At last, someone announced that they were near their destination. How are Nisha's experiences in the forest the same as Manara's? How are they different? Nisha didn't see the laughing trees and the man with the head under his arm, but Manara did. Why do you think that is? Flip the page. Flip the page. Nisha ran ahead and topped the rise before the others could catch up with her. She stood transfixed at her first sight of the city. "Oh, my father!" she called. "A great spirit must stand guard here. Just look at what lies before us. I never in all my life dreamed there could be anything so beautiful." Page 100. Arm in arm, Nisha and her father descended the hill, crossed the river, and approached the city gate. Just as they entered through the great doors, the air was rent by piercing cries, and Manara ran wildly out of a chamber at the center of the enclosure. When she saw Nysa, she fell upon her, sobbing. "Do not go to the king, my sister. Oh, please, father, do not let her go," she cried hysterically. "There's a great monster there, a snake with 5 heads. He said that he knew all my faults and that I displeased him. He would have swallowed me alive if I had not run. Oh, my sister, please do not go inside that place." It frightened Nysa to see her sister so upset, but leaving her father to comfort Manara, she bravely made her way to the chamber and opened the door. On the seat of the great chief's stool lay the little garden snake. Nysa laughed with relief and joy. "My little friend!" she exclaimed. "It's such a pleasure to see you, but why are you here?" So what do you think the author is trying to what message do you think the author is trying to get across just by what Manara saw and what Nysa saw at the chief's stool? "I am the king," Noika replied, and there, before Nysa's eyes, the garden snake changed shape. So the king was the monster snake and the little garden snake. What other forms do you think he has taken? And how do you think those forms have helped him learn about Nysa? Flip the page. "I am the king. I am also the hungry boy with whom you shared a yam in the forest, and the old woman to whom you made a gift of sunflower seeds. But you know me best as Noika, because I have been all of these. I know you to be the most worthy and most beautiful daughter in the land. It would make me very happy if you would be my wife." And so it was that, a long time ago, Nysa agreed to be married. The king's mother and sisters took Nysa to their house, and the wedding preparations began. The best weavers in the land laid out their finest cloth for her wedding garment. Villagers from all around were invited to the celebration, and a great feast was held. Nysa prepared the bread for the wedding feast from millet that had been brought from their village. Mufaro proclaimed to all who would hear him that he was the happiest father in all the land, for he was blessed with 2 beautiful and worthy daughters, Nysa, the queen, and Manara, a servant in the queen's household. So think about what the girls' lives might be like. In what ways will their lives be this similar, and how might they be different?